Hi, everybody. Welcome again to Enjoy English School. I'm Bruce.
大家好，我是 Bernice.
Today we have the first of a two-day lesson in our Biography section of your magazine. Bio means life. Graph refers to writing or studying. So we're going to study the life of a person in 2 days who has lived almost 100 years.
Wow.
Whoa, and that woman is Queen Elizabeth II.
我们今天要讲的是人物的传记。那刚才老师有讲到说，这个 bio 就是跟生命有关的 ，graph 呢就是跟写是有关的，所以就是在写呢跟你生命相关的一些东西，所以我们中文叫自传。那我们今天要讲的是史上最长寿，甚至已经快要100岁的，好这样的一个君王，然后是伊丽莎白二世。
Queen Elizabeth II. Queen Elizabeth II has led an amazing life. At 95, she is the oldest living ruler in the world. She has been queen for 69 years, longer than any other British king or queen. Originally, it seemed unlikely that Elizabeth would become queen, since her uncle, the Duke of Windsor, was set to become king. However, he gave up the crown after ruling for less than a year, and Elizabeth's father, George VI, became king. This turn of events made Elizabeth next in line for the crown. Even when Elizabeth was just a princess, she worked hard to serve her country. During World War II, she was trained as a driver in the army. She also gave a speech on the radio to comfort children during the bombing of Britain. 2 years after the war, Elizabeth married Prince Philip. He unfortunately passed away in April 2021. In 1952, she became Queen of England and the United Kingdom. Her duties have included visiting over 120 foreign countries and participating in official events. Elizabeth ruled over Britain during a time of major changes. After the war, many of Britain's colonies became independent countries. However, thanks to her long and steady rule, Elizabeth has kept her country safe and stable.
Okay, so let's get busy with our article. Queen Elizabeth II has led an amazing life. Now notice I said Queen Elizabeth II. It's not Queen Elizabeth II. It is the Roman numeral for 2, but when it is for a royal title, we would say the first, the second, the third, and so on.
好，我们这边讲到这个 the second， 刚刚Bruce老师解释呢，就是因为它是皇家的一个称呼的方式。好，那虽然我们是用罗马的这样的一个符号来表现，可是我们在英文念的时候是念加一个 the， 然后加 first 或 second。好，那么这个伊丽莎白二世呢，她一直以来都过着这边的 led 是 lead 的这个过去分词，她一直以来都过着呢非常精彩的人生。
At 95, she is the oldest living ruler in the world. I said almost 100. Well, very few people even reach 95.
That's true, yeah.
And during that time, as we will find out, most of her life has been as the Queen of the United Kingdom.
好，所以呢，你看看同学，这个伊丽莎白二世呢，她在95岁，好，她到95岁的时候呢，已经呢就是全世界啊这个最年长的这边的 ruler， 不是那个尺哦，啊，这个 ruler 是指那个执政者，所以她是全世界 living 就是现存的，仍然活在这个世上的这个最长寿的、最年长的这个执政者。
She has been queen for 69 years, longer than any other British king or queen. I just mentioned she is queen of the United Kingdom. Great Britain is an older name for the United Kingdom. And from the word Britain, we have the adjective British. So sometimes we say English, sometimes we say British. Within the royal family, in the United Kingdom for many, many, many centuries, Queen Elizabeth II is the one who has lived the longest.
好，所以呢，这个伊丽莎白二世呢，她呀一直当这一个所谓的女王呢，已经当了差不多69年，就她在位已经有69年了。69年这个数字呢，对于任何的一个英国的好这个君主，还是这个英国的这个君王呢，都还要更加的久。这边要注意这个 British， 刚才这个 Bruce 老师有讲，这边是它的形容词，就是我们讲到英国的。那么这边有一个 longer than any other， 记得 any other 后面要接的是单数的名词，这个是相同范围的比较。因为呢 Elizabeth II 她也是在英国的一个君王，所以呢她跟其他的这些君王去比较，所以相同范围的比较记得要多加一个 other 这个字。好，所以就是比其他的这个英国的君主他这个在位的期间都还要更久。
Okay, our second paragraph now. Originally, at first, or at the time she became queen, it seemed unlikely that Elizabeth would become queen, since her uncle, that would be her father's brother, the Duke of Windsor, was set to become king. Everyone expected that because Elizabeth's father was the king, when he died, the next younger son, if there was a son, would become the next king. And people were expecting this, but...
可是呢，却不是，因为接下来就是女的了，不是男的了。好了，所以 originally 就是刚才老师讲的 at first， 就是起初的时候，一开始呢，似乎啊，并不是让这个伊丽莎白二世呢来当上这样子的一个这个女王，并不是她哦。为什么呢？因为她的爸爸原本是国王嘛，那他这个去世之后呢，好，应该是如果有儿子的话，应该是由儿子来继位。但是却不是，而是当时因为有什么他的 uncle 的话就是他爸爸的兄弟，那个时候呢，这一个公爵呢，他原本啊温莎公爵，他原本要 was set to 就是他原本准备好要继位成为这个国王了。
However, but he gave up the crown. He refused to continue to be king after ruling for less than a year.So he was the king, but for a reason we don't have time for, he stepped down not even not even longer than 1 year after he had been the king.
好，所以可是呢，他的这个 uncle 呢就想说啊，他要拒绝这个王位。不过他曾经当了这个国王，但他当的时间呢，就是 gave up the crown 就是他的皇冠嘛，皇冠就是这个王位。那后来刚才 Bruce 老师讲这个 step down， 就是他后来退位了，是因为大概不到1年他就退位了。
Okay, so originally everybody thought that Elizabeth would not be the queen.Because she had an uncle and a father who would naturally, the older uncle would become king, and then, if not, then her father would become king, and only then would she become queen. But nobody expected that at the time. Now, her uncle, her father's older brother, was the Duke of Windsor, and he did become king, but...There's a reason he stopped. He stepped down in less than a year, which opened the position for her father, George, and he became George VI. Why 6th? In British history, I mentioned there were centuries and centuries of the royal family in the United Kingdom, and there were 5 kings named George before Elizabeth's father.
OK 好，所以这边的 Bruce 老师的解释就是说呢，原本应该呢，当时要当国王的应该是这个伊丽莎白的爸爸，然后他的哥哥应该是先当第一任的国王，然后接着是他的伊丽莎白的爸爸，接下来才有可能轮到伊丽莎白本人。所以原本呢，大家以为应该不会有这个机会让他当上这个 queen 的，结果呢，后来就是他的哥哥，就是他爸爸的哥哥，也就是他的伯伯 ，OK， 然后呢，他放弃了 这样子的一个王位的一个机会，所以呢就轮到他的父亲。那他的父亲为什么是第6世呢？就是因为前面有5个国王都是叫 George， 所以他到了他爸爸的时候就是 the 6th， 就是第6个了，才终于成为了国王。
So this shows you that George is a very common English name for men. Okay, let's finish this paragraph. This turn of events. What happened after this point made Elizabeth next in line because George VI did not have any sons, and Elizabeth was the elder sister. She had one younger sister. They both had their father, who became George VI. If you are next in line, it simply means you're the next one. Whatever happens to George VI, should he die or step down, then somebody has to become the ruler, and that person would be Elizabeth.
好的，所以就是因为这一系列的转折呢，这个 events 就是前面发生了这么多的事件，这个 turn 呢就是一种转折，所以使得伊丽莎白呢，终于她是接下来的下一个继位者，成为这个所谓的君王。那就是因为呢，这个伊丽莎白的父亲呢，他只有2个女儿，而伊丽莎白是姐姐，所以由姐姐来继任为下一位的这个继承者。
And notice the last words here. The crown refers to the position of a royal person, the leader, the highest ranking leader in a royal family.
对，所以这个 crown 我们知道是皇冠的意思，那加上这个 the 就是指这个皇家贵族里面的这一个继承的这个人，这个统治者，所以我们用到 the crown。
Okay, whoo, that's quite a bit of family history. Let's take a short break.
好的。
Okay, welcome back, and let's get going. Even when Elizabeth was just a princess, she worked hard to serve her country. When she was a princess, she was not yet the queen, but she felt a strong desire to help or serve her own country, the United Kingdom.
所以当那个时候呢，伊丽莎白她只是一个公主的时候呢，她呀依然的非常的努力呢，想要 serve her country。这个 serve 就是要服务她的国家，因为她毕竟出生在皇家，所以皇家的人呢，他们都会有这样的一种热忱，要去服务，对他的国家尽忠。
During World War II, and in Europe, that was from 1939 to 1945, she was trained as a driver in the army. We don't usually think of someone in a royal family as driving a truck. I think it was a medical truck to help the wounded or injured soldiers.
哦 ，OK， 好，所以那个Bruce老师认为应该是 medical driver， 就是那种为了医疗的，好，就在军队里面嘛，可能有人受伤啊什么，所以他可能载一些物资啊，或者是受伤的士兵这样的一种 driver。所以那个时期呢，是在第2次世界大战的时候，那伊丽莎白她当时就被训练来当成这个军中里面的这个驾驶。
She also gave a speech on the radio to comfort children during the bombing of Britain. Germany had a very high-power air force, and during the war, near the beginning of the war, it frequently flew from Germany to the United Kingdom and bombed the cities like London, trying to win the war. So Elizabeth went on the radio to give a speech to try to comfort, means to protect or to make people feel good during a bad or difficult time.
所以当时呢，因为这个我刚才老师讲了，德国跟英国他们这样子啊，常常有这个飞机啊，然后可能去轰炸 啊，比如说像伦敦这种大城市。所以呢，当时呢，伊丽莎白她同时呢也透过这个 radio， 所以她用 on， 就是透过 radio 这个东西呢，发表了一些这个演说。那这些演说的目的呢，就是为了要 comfort 这个意思，我们知道就是让对方觉得比较舒适一点，然后可以让他们有一种好像被保护的感觉，所以他去安抚这一群孩子们，尤其是在英国当时被 bombing， 就是受到轰炸的时候。
2 years after the war, so that would be 1947, Elizabeth married Prince Philip. Now, notice he's not the king.If the queen marries someone, he becomes a prince, not the king.
好，所以这边老师讲得很清楚啦。伊丽莎白她嫁给这个Prince Philip 的时候，她是变成王子，她不是就直接变国王，因为国王是这个伊丽莎白。好，所以过了2年，在这个第2次世界大战2年之后呢，伊丽莎白她后来嫁给，因为她是公主嘛，当时还是公主，所以公主呢嫁给这个 Philip。然后就是王子，好，就在这个2年过后。
He, Prince Philip, unfortunately passed away, died in April 2021, just half a year ago. He was also over 90 years old.
Oh, okay.
99.
99, wow. 好，都是很长寿的。好，所以呢，后来他的先生呢，就是很不幸的啦，就过世了。那时间点呢，就是在2021年的4月。那当时就像老师讲，他也差不多99岁了。
In 1952, she became Queen of England and the United Kingdom.
好，所以终于在1952年那个时候呢，这个伊丽莎白她当时就成为了英国的这个女王，还有这个英国 United Kingdom 就是英国哈。
Her duties have included visiting over 120 foreign countries and participating in, joining in, being a member of official events in her own country as well as in many, many foreign countries.
对，所以你看，女王的工作可不是那么轻松的，对不对？所以她的 duties， 她的职责，她的 jobs 有什么呢？哇，第一个你要先去参访超过120个国外哦，好，到国外的国家要参访这个超过120个国家。同时呢，你当然还要参加大大小小的这些所谓他们当时官方正式的一些活动，所以确实不是那么轻松容易可以当的。
Okay, we're working pretty hard too, so
yes.
Let's take a short break. Okay, let's continue to our last paragraph, but it's the last paragraph of today's lesson. We have one more lesson tomorrow on Queen Elizabeth II. Elizabeth ruled over Britain during a time of major changes from the middle of the last century to now. It's been 69 years. The world has gone through almost unbelievable changes, not only in the United Kingdom and Europe, but also here in Asia, in South America. The whole world has changed very greatly during the time she has been queen.
对，所以呢，这个伊丽莎白呢，她 ruled over， 就是她在那个时候呢，这个统治。好，这个英国呢，就是在那一段时期 ，a time 呢，这个 time 就是那一段时期。那同学想想看，他在位69年，那这个世界整个都大转变了，所以确实是有一些 major changes， 就是有一些非常重大的改变。
After the war, many of Britain's colonies became independent countries. If you know a little world history, Britain, the United Kingdom, was the country that had the largest empire in world history. 1/4 of the world's area and 1/4 of the world's population, too, were at one time controlled by Britain. But during the 1960s, that began to change, and it changed very quickly as many, many, many colonies became independent. free countries.
所以刚刚Bruce老师讲了，将近1/4的这个地区，甚至1/4的人口，都是由当时英国呢来殖民的。所以呢，它确实那个范围是非常的大。所以在这个大战之后呢，有许许多多曾经被它统治过的这一些殖民过的这些地方呢，这些殖民地 colonies 就是这些殖民地，后来都成为了 independent， 都独立了。独立的意思就是放你自由了。
However, still, but thanks to her long and steady rule, we've mentioned many times how long she's been queen, but it's also been steady compared to how the world has changed. She has always behaved the same way, and people trust her because she's stable. Elizabeth has kept her country safe, there it is, safe and stable. Stable means not easily changed or not easily in a bad situation.
好，所以呢，虽然是这个样子，整个世界呢有这么样重大的改变，甚至很多的这个殖民地呢也都恢复成独立的国家，可是呢，thanks to 就是幸亏还好呢，有这个伊丽莎白这么样的长期的这样的一个统治，甚至她的统治是非常的 steady， 就是非常的稳定啊，就是她的态度也好，或者是她对于这些殖民地的国家的这个方式管制统治的方式都非常的稳定。那么伊丽莎白呢，一直以来都让她自己的国家保持是非常的安全，也非常的 stable。stable 我们就讲它是非常稳固。所谓的稳固呢，就是不会那么容易去因为一些什么外在的环境的因素，让它造成一些它的改变，所以非常的稳固。因此呢，它可以让它的国家的人民非常的信任它。
Okay, that completes the first half of the 2-day lesson. Let's take a really short break and then we'll come back for our review. Okay, for the review, we start with the special words, the words that are emphasized, and repeat them for you so that if you just hear something once, you can easily forget it. If you hear it 2 or more times, it's easier to remember. And the first word is pretty easy, ruler.
好，这个字呢是个名词。当然我们知道 ruler， 你在国中的时候学它是一把尺。那在这儿呢，你想想看嘛，一个人要去管理一个国家，也是一个要有一把尺来衡量一下。所以在这边呢，我们是指统治者。
Our next word is originally. Because of the ly, it becomes an adverb. Original is the first of its kind. Originally is often used to describe the condition or situation at the beginning of something.
好的，所以这边呢，你可以很清楚听到 Bruce 老师的发音。虽然各位同学看不到我们可爱的嘴巴，但是要注意听这个声音，你自己要在心里面跟着老师一起念一遍，这样你才会记忆的比较久。这个字呢，原本从 original 变来的 ，original 是形容词，叫原本的，就是它这个东西原来的样子，起初的，加了 ly 变成它的副词。
Again, we have, instead of ruler, we have ruling because this is the verb form. To rule is to command or control.
对，所以这边是当动词，哈，就是一样是统治管理，从 rule 变来的。
In the second paragraph, we have the word comfort. Now, this can be used as a noun and a verb, the same word. To comfort is to make someone feel better because they're sad or hurt or lonely.
当你的朋友啦，或者家人觉得难过啦，或者觉得很孤单的时候，这个字 comfort 可以当名词，也可以当这个动词，就是安抚他，使他比较舒适的意思。
Next is passed away. This is a verb, and the ed shows us that it's a past tense. Pass away is a polite way to say die.
好，比较这个委婉、比较礼貌的说法，说一个人过世了，我们就用 pass away。
Next is participating in. The form of the verb without ing is ate. To participate in is to join or be a member of.
我们要去参加，好，所以我们可以换成像刚才Bruce 老师替换的这个片语，就去参与一个什么样的活动，我们就会用到 participate in。
Next, in fact, the next two are really quite similar. Steady and stable. They can almost be used one for the other, and it means hard to change. They are positive words. If your life is steady, you don't have big problems or situations that are difficult for you. The same with steady. You go on day by day in a way that is easy to control.
所以这两个字呢，都是有稳定、稳固的意思，都是形容词，意思非常的接近，甚至可以互换。总之呢，就是表示你一步一步的往前进，稳稳定定的往前进的意思。
Okay, so that's it for our first day. Please join us again tomorrow, and we will continue telling you about, to me, a very remarkable person worth knowing more about.
Okay.
Until then.
Yes.
Bye.